Yeah. So, how often do you skip meals?
How often do I skip meals? Probably on the weekends, one day on a weekend, but that's about it.
So, is there any particular reason for you skipping meals?
Maybe on the weekends when I'm not working or I'm not physically as active as I am, I probably don't feel hungry, and
Oh,
I like portion control, so I don't eat more than what I should. Actually, I eat
oh,
a lot lesser than I should, which is
okay.
something I've been doing for years.
And what do you understand by the term eating disorders?
Eating disorder, it's a big topic in Australia. Eating disorders can be a couple of different, at least a couple of different flavors that I know of. One is people eat when they are sort of going through a difficult time, mental health problems, so they eat more. On the other end of the extreme, you have people who suffer from anorexia, which is where they don't want to eat food because they think they're going to put on weight. So, and I have a very close friend of mine. He's a psychiatrist, so he deals with a lot of people, young people, old people in this field. So, yeah, it's a growing problem.
Okay. And how many and which types of eating disorders are you aware of?
Probably anorexia is the one that I'm aware of the most. I'm not sure
Oh,
about the terms for any others, but
yeah.
it's pretty prevalent. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably the only one that I'm aware of.
And are eating disorders a taboo subject in your area?
No, people talk quite openly about it. Like compared to the Indian society, the Australian society doesn't, shy away from any sort of, problems, whether it's, somebody's looks, disability, eating disorders, mental health issues. It's actually quite widely talked about, and it's actually promoted that you should talk about it more rather than hiding it.
Yeah. And how does social media influence the way or people around you feel regarding their bodies?
It's, I think, more of an issue for young people.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's an issue for all ages, but I'm personally not a big fan of, social media trying to show a perfect image of anyone. I think girls probably have a bit more pressure than boys, but you need to look a certain way, you need to dress a certain way. So yeah, I've quit social media platforms. Like I used to be on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook, so except for WhatsApp. I don't use anything anymore because I think it's quite a waste of time, to be honest. But anyways, that's my view. But
And
yeah, it influences it negatively.
yeah, and do you also think that social media greatly affects the way teenagers feel about their body?
100%,
Yeah.
100%. In two ways. One is that bit about trying to look perfect, and the other thing is focusing more on the looks rather than the person's character or the person's skill or what else they bring to a relationship, whether it's friends, whether it's colleagues, whether it's team members when you're doing presentations. So I think there's less focus on that and more focused on how people need to look, which is wrong.
Yeah. And do you think that peer pressure can affect the eating habits of teenagers?
Possibly, I would love to go back to be a teenager and experience that sort of, feel, but that time is gone. But yeah, look, I mean, speaking to friends who've got kids who are of that teenage age, peer pressure affects not only eating disorder, but in many other ways as well. How they feel confident about themselves, whether they're achieving what they need to achieve. And, it's a term that we use, which I'm sure is, keeping up with the Joneses, right? Which is comparing yourself to somebody else. So, yeah, it definitely makes a difference. And again, sometimes it's positive because you want to also learn from people who are doing things right. But for the most part, I think people tend to, have a lower opinion of themselves when they're comparing themselves. So yeah, it does make a difference.
Yeah. And does the place you live in or the culture affect the way you eat?
Not at all, actually. Australians are, well, they always get termed as being lazy, which is not true because they're quite fit, actually. And there's a lot of focus on fitness. I don't think so. No, I think people have varied eating habits just like any other country. So I don't think that makes a difference.
Yeah. And does the place you live in and like your culture also affect your understanding of eating disorders?
Yes, in a positive way, because there's a lot of education, that comes through. For example, through school education, you keep learning. Through government advertising, you keep learning. At work, we have a lot of focus on this as well. But I think they address it in two different ways. There is eating disorders where you want to know when somebody's in trouble, and then there is eating disorders about knowing what's healthy food. and what everyone should be eating, age appropriate eating, for example, or condition appropriate eating. So, for example, if you're in a physical job versus you're in an office role. So yeah, there's a lot of information available for that.
Okay, yeah, that's it. Thank you.